Hey guys, Professor O'Kane here. Today we're going to talk about musician injuries. Not like that one, and not like this one. The kind of injuries we're going to talk about today can really sideline you. Now, as musicians, there are many injuries that we can develop just by practicing hard and practicing focus and practicing with intensity and with the drive that we want to get to the next level. And then all of a sudden, I can't move my hand because it hurts so much, or I can't feel my fingertips, or they're tingly. All of these are real injuries and they happen to a lot of people. Now, I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm not a doctor, but I have had a lot of hand and forearm injuries, tendonitis injuries. And aside from that, I'm really into staying fit and learning how to stretch. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Because I'm so into health and treating my body right, this has become a part of my regiment. This meaning the stretches and watching my tension, so much so that I don't have these problems anymore. Hey guys, it's me. I'm from the future, but I came back today to tell you something real quick. Don't take the stretches hard. Go lighter than what I tell you in the upcoming exercises, okay? Trust me on this one. Now, I'm gonna go back to the future and we will return with our regularly scheduled show. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, the carpal tunnel is right here. It's located right here at the base of the palm, actually right in the wrist area. Now, the medial nerve, which starts in the neck and it goes past, I think what it is the T1 and the C5, which is the top rib, and it goes down through your bicep here, through all of this flesh and all these tendons, and then it has to go through this small tunnel. How do you know if you have carpal tunnel syndrome? Well, you will be feeling tingling. I used to have tingling right here at the base of my palm, and I also had tingling in my thumb, my forefinger, and my middle finger. Those who have carpal tunnel syndrome really bad have half of their ring finger as numb also. Some of the things that you might see with carpal tunnel syndrome is the loss of your grip strength. And in very advanced cases, this muscle right here, will be wasted away. Hopefully, you're nowhere near that and you are going to go seek help if you are having these kind of problems. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few tests on how you can kind of self-diagnose and see if you have to go to a physiotherapist and take this to the next level. One of the tests that you can do, that a physiotherapist will have you do, is, they might do this themselves, is to simply tap here for 60 seconds. And if you feel that the symptoms are worsening, or you're feeling that you went from feeling nothing to tingling and perhaps pain, that means that you've tested positive for this. I think it's called the Tunal's test. And it means that you need to seek help. There's also the Phelan test, which is if you take your hand like this and you put them in the prayer position and you put it in this kind of compressed situation where you're compressing the carpal tunnel, and also the reverse Phelan test, which is like this. I don't know if it's Fallon's or Phelan's. I heard it pronounced, we pronounce it Fallon, but it could be Phelan. And if you be failing this test, you are going to be feeling an ignition of the symptoms that have been bothering you. Especially for me, it was in my left hand. By the way, it's also aggravated by typing. I'm very careful about how I am typing. I'm making sure that I'm not in this position. I'm making sure that I'm sitting up pretty well and that I have a flat, nice area here, which you can't see. But if I were sitting up a little bit like this, I try and be in a very kind of straight position. Now, I'm going to show you some stretches that are going to be really, really good for this particular situation. So this one stretch can be achieved with using a simple belt. I have a cloth belt, but you could use a leather belt. And for me, my left side is always tight, and that's the side that my hand is on the neck. So what I'm going to do is put this underneath my bum, sit on it, and I'm going to pull it over my trapezius. Because the nerve travels up over the neck, having a tense area here is really detrimental, and actually it could be the cause of what you're feeling in your hand. So what I do is I'm going to pull on this nice and tight and take a few breaths. So I want to take a deep breath in and deep breath out. And it's actually feeling really good. Now, after you've done this, which feels really good, you're going to tilt your head to the opposite shoulder. And you're also going to breathe. And what you can do is you can just do it a few reps like that, and you're going to feel great after a while. And you know what? If it doesn't do anything for the median nerve, it's just going to feel great on your shoulder. It's going to relieve some of that tension that's, making you tense up. Okay, these next stretches you need to be really careful about. This is not like going to the gym. This is something you have to be very delicate with, and do not push this. Do not push this, or you're going to worsen your situation. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your hand straight out like this, which is really off the camera. So let's move this way. There we are. Okay, and I'm going to have my hand, let me move a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to just pull my hand down nice and gentle. And I'm just going to keep it there like that. And then I'm going to allow my hand to relax, because that's super tight for me. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pull it down. And then once you get comfortable with that, you do the same thing with your neck. You turn it this way. I've heard this called the nerve glide. I've had students glide all over my nerves, I'll tell you that. And then again, make sure that you're not leaning forward with your neck, that you're going directly to the side. And you can do like a set of 10 or a set of 5 just to start out with. If that's super simple for you and you have a very flexible wrist, put it up against the wall. And be careful. Remember, be careful, and be careful again. Here's an interesting tidbit, and that is that 3% of all of the people on this earth are going to get some form of carpal tunnel syndrome, especially in the ages of 50 and above. Now, what's odd is mine happened when I was 20. So it just goes to show you that genetics, physiology, everybody's different. And some people, I remember I asked Pat Metheny if he had any problems with his wrists or hands or forearms, and he was like, never. Go figure. I mean, he plays all the time, and he plays for a long time under intense situations. And he's just one of these guys that can play and play and play. There are a lot of people who can. Them people are the lucky people. Now, here are some other stretches which I know you have seen before. And every time I see them being done incorrectly. And that is where you take your hand, I'll again go at this angle, you take your hand forward like this, and then you grab it, and then you bend forward. Gently, okay? Gently. But look at my thumb, just hanging out there in the breeze, so you don't want that. You want to grab this part of your hand, this meaty part right here, and gently lever it forward. See, I have the thumb. And what my right hand looks like is this. So this is what it's looking like from this side. Okay, now the other direction. So you hold it there for a few seconds just so you feel a nice stretch across here. Going the other way, you want to not have this thumb dangling in the breeze like that. You want to capture the thumb. So I'm holding it like this, again from this side. You can see I've got my thumb here. And I'm just allowing myself to stretch. If all you can do is go at this angle, don't push it. Just keep it at this angle. Another thing that you can do is go into a door frame and put your hands like this, like on each side of the door frame, and gently stretch forward. Just gently stretch forward. If you don't have a door frame that you can do this in, doing it statically like this with your hands in the air and pushing your chest forward. Breathe. Go back like this and do it again. Now there's another test that you can have done, which I can't demonstrate here. It's the kind of thing that would have to happen in a specialist's office. And that is where they attach an electrode here, I believe one here, and then one here. And they run a shock from this part, and it is timed. And through the timing of that shock, which it doesn't hurt at all. It's just a little, you feel something. They're able to tell how constricted your carpal tunnel is. And depending upon your loss of use and the reading of that measurement and a few other things that a specialist is going to be able to determine, you may need surgery. Now, the final thing I'm going to recommend for this particular situation is a wrist brace. A wrist brace has a metal, inside it, it has a metal piece that goes just like this. And it creates this kind of a situation and this kind of way over the top, like there's a metal piece over the top. And you don't have to crank it on with the Velcro, but it's very, very helpful. And what you do is you sleep with it. Why would you sleep with it? Because a lot of times when we sleep, we're like, I want to get back into the womb. This is not really good for your situation, especially if you're having a lot of pain and you're cranking on that carpal tunnel and you're really constricting it. That's not the kind of thing you want to do. So what happens actually to a lot of people is they wake up and their hand is just absolutely wrecked. It's tingling. If you have it real bad, you're waking up in the middle of the night. So what this brace does is it allows you to keep your hand in a neutral position. Actually, when I was experiencing this carpal tunnel syndrome, I was wearing this brace whenever I possibly could. Whenever I wasn't doing anything that had to do with music, I had that brace on. It was really important to me to overcome the situation, and it was very frustrating because no matter how much I wore the brace and what kind of stretches I did, it still took a long time to get over. So you have to find ways to play. I actually played with the brace, which was very, very difficult. And I did a lot of other sport activities, my martial arts, etc. And it was a hindrance, but I kept my hand in that neutral position as much as possible. And slowly but surely, I beat this. Now, when I start to feel it coming on, I stop. I'll stop playing. I'll just drop it totally. Or if I'm typing away, I just quit. I give myself a break. I take a walk, 15 minutes, nothing. I just let my hand hang in a neutral position and go back to it and try and do it with a less intense attitude. So the next thing I want to talk about is tendonitis. Now, tendonitis, the way I experienced it was across my elbow, I guess it is, my elbow, my forearm, and also right here too on the top of my hand. Now, this was a horrendous feeling. Horrendous because it felt like I had these metal wires in here, and it was just every time I was playing, I could feel every tendon moving, and it was not pleasant and it was painful. It was really sore here, and I believe they call it tennis elbow. In here is golfer's elbow. Outside is tennis elbow. And a lot of times you might see people wearing that cushion with the pad. It goes right here. It goes right below where the discomfort is. Trust me, if you go to a physiotherapist and they work on it, their thumb is like this and you're wanting to tap out. I mean, it is painful, but they're trying to bring blood to the malady and repair it. And it's just part of the process that you have to go through. Now, I believe Robin Ford had really bad tendonitis and had to stop for quite some time. You don't want this to be you. So I'm going to give you a few more stretches, and then I'm going to give you a very, very invaluable pro tip. it's really worth its weight in gold, or maybe more. Platinum. So here are a few other stretches and movements that could really help you. This fan with your fingers. Now what I'm doing is I'm coming up. I'm having to look in the monitor, people, so please forgive me to make sure that you're seeing it. I'm coming down with my small finger, my pinky, and then back up with my forefinger. If you want to imagine something round here, like a ball or some other thing, you can go, it's like you're going around it, and then you go up and down. I like to do it with both hands, nice and relaxed. Do not do any of this with any tension whatsoever. If you do, you're kind of just repeating what's going on in your practice sessions, and you're going to reinforce the injury. Okay, so I'll do this, just nice and easy. Another thing I'll do is almost like you're throttling a Harley, is this. Now notice, it's as if I have a string, I'm pulling it here, and I'm pushing up with a bar. Pulling, pushing up, pulling, pushing up. So I'll do this with both hands, nice and easy. Nice and easy. And then you can also go round. So it's actually, this is staying, try and move here. This is staying in the same position, and it's your wrist that's going up and down. And it doesn't have to be, it's not an orthodox thing. Even if you, it's just not this. It's not this. You're moving your wrists. So I'm moving both of them in. And then now actually they're both going in now, and they were both going out. Now, when I do it, I'm standing up. So right now I'm kind of keeping my arms like this. So I'm feeling some tension here. But this is just because of my limitations with the camera and such. Another stretch that I'm sure you've seen people do at the gym is this stretch for your deltoids. So this, what I'm doing is I'm using my, this free hand here as a clamp, and I'm gently pulling this way. You're going to feel the stretch all through your deltoids, and you're going to breathe. You're just going to breathe. Now I'm going to go to the other side. I clamp it in and I go like this. So nice and easy. If you have a shoulder injury, you can keep your elbow on this side and just gently pull like this. The more of your elbow that you capture, the more pressure you're going to feel here. So if you have a shoulder injury, please go easy on yourself. Another thing are basic shoulder rolls, just like this. Just like this, and then forward. Breathe when you're doing this, and you can even let your hands hang by your side. Again, if you have shoulder injuries, you want to mind that and kind of protect. You know how it is when you've had a shoulder injury. I won't go into it, but there's ways to protect it. I've injured both of my shoulders. Thank you, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's just part of the deal. I can feel them clunking. What I imagine in my mind, and I used this when I had cancer, when I was going through some of the poking and prodding that they do to you, is I imagined in that case it was a volume knob, like a potentiometer, with the word pain over it. In this case, it would be a potentiometer with the word tension over it. Okay? And what I would do is let's say if I'm practicing really hard, it would be pegged at 10 if I'm not paying attention. And in my mind's eye, I will close my eyes and turn it down. Turn it down. Turn it down to about 5, 6. So I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm, in the trenches, but I'm not overdoing it and I'm not tense. It's that tension, especially when you're not paying attention, that takes you down that road that you don't want to go down. Like when I was doing the Michael Brecker, some skunk funk solo, sure enough, I thought I was loose, but I wasn't. And the tension was going right here to this golfer's elbow situation. And it was painful, really, really painful. And it lasted for months. I couldn't believe it. I got injured by Michael Brecker solo. Most of the times that solo just injures your ego. But this really got me right here. So thanks again for coming with me on this journey. I hope this helped. And more importantly, I really hope this saved some people from just not being able to play anymore.